There is a special kind of silence that settles in when the house grows quiet and the years pile up. The phone rarely rings, and sometimes you wonder if anyone still remembers you're here. If that's you tonight, stay with me, because this letter found you for a reason, not by accident, not by some careless scroll of the thumb, but because heaven has a way of placing the right words in front of a tired heart at the exact hour she needs them. So let me speak gently to you, the way someone should have spoken to you a long time ago. You are not invisible. You are not too late. And by the end of this letter, you will understand why the quiet that surrounds you tonight is not the same thing as being forgotten. Stay with me, beloved, because what I have to tell you is going to lift something heavy off your shoulders before we are through. You were the one who remembered. For most of your life, you carried the memory of everyone around you. You knew which child needed a coat before winter, which grandchild was afraid of the dark, which neighbor was grieving and needed a warm plate brought to the door. You remembered the birthdays. You wrote the cards in your careful handwriting. You kept the calendar of a whole family inside your heart, and you never once asked for a medal. You were the steady one, the one everyone leaned on without ever stopping to wonder who you leaned on in return. You were the one who stayed up. You were the one who held the household together with hands that never seemed to rest. When everyone else had fallen asleep, you were still folding, still praying, still listening for the sound of a key in the door. You gave the warmest parts of yourself away in 1,000 small ways, and most of them were never even noticed, let alone thanked. And now the house is quiet. The children are grown and scattered across cities you can barely picture. The phone that once rang all day now sits silent on the table. You set 1 cup of tea instead of 2. You hear your own footsteps echo in rooms that used to be full of noise. And somewhere in that silence, a thought slips in, a cruel and quiet thought, that maybe you have already given everything you had to give, that maybe you have been set down like an old book on a high shelf, remembered fondly, but no longer opened. I want you to know that I see that thought. I see the way you have started to shrink yourself, to apologize for needing anything, to wonder if you have become a burden. And before we go one step further, I need you to hear me say it plainly. That thought is a liar. Here is the lie that has been whispering to you in the dark. The lie says you have outlived your usefulness. It says the world has moved on, that your season of being needed is over, that the best of you is behind you, and what remains is only waiting. It says that because no one is calling, no one is thinking of you, and that because no one on earth seems to remember, perhaps even heaven has misplaced your name. Beloved, I need you to take that lie and set it down tonight, because it has no foundation under it at all. Listen to what God Himself said through the prophet Isaiah to a people who felt abandoned and erased. He asked them a question: can a woman forget her nursing child, that she should have no compassion on the son of her womb? It is almost unthinkable, a mother forgetting the very child at her breast. And then God says the most tender thing. Yea, He says, they may forget, yet will I not forget thee. And He does not stop there. Behold, He says, I have graven thee upon the palms of my hands. Sit with that word, graven, not written in pencil, not jotted on a list that could be lost. Engraved, carved deep into the very hands of God, where it cannot fade and cannot be erased. Your name is not on a shelf. Your name is on His hands. It is held in the same place that holds the whole world together. Every time heaven moves, your name moves with it, and it has never once slipped his mind. So stay with me, because in just a moment, I am going to tell you a story about a light in a window, a small and ordinary faithfulness that no one on earth ever saw, and what heaven did with it. It may be the most important thing you hear tonight. In a town built along an old coast road, there once lived a woman much like you. Her children had grown and gone the way children do, carried off by work and distance and lives of their own. And every single evening, without fail, she climbed the narrow stairs to the upstairs window and lit a small lamp and set it on the sill. She did it for them, so that if any of them ever came home in the dark, there would be a light to welcome them. But the years went by, and they rarely came. The lamp burned for no one she could see. Some nights, lighting it felt almost foolish, almost like talking to an empty room. Still, she lit it. Faithfulness had become her quiet habit, even when it cost her something to keep it. Then came a bitter winter night, the kind where the snow erases the road and the cold gets into your bones. A young traveler, far from home and lost, had wandered off the path. He was exhausted. He had stopped fighting. He had nearly decided to lie down in the snow and let the cold take him. And then, through the white and the dark, he saw it. One warm, golden light in an upstairs window. Just one. And he walked toward it, and that light led him to shelter, and he lived. He never knocked on her door. He never learned her name. She went to her bed that night, never knowing she had saved a life. On earth, no one applauded. No record was kept. By every human measure, it was only a small old woman lighting a lamp that no one needed. But heaven kept the record, for the Lord said that not even a sparrow falls to the ground without your Father, and that 5 sparrows, sold for next to nothing, are not one of them forgotten before God. And then he turned it toward you, and said, the very hairs of your head are all numbered. Fear not, therefore, for you are of more value than many sparrows. If this letter is reaching your heart tonight, type the word Amen in the comments, so I know to keep writing these letters for you, because I need you to understand. Your faithfulness has been a light in a window for people you may never meet, and not one flicker of it has been forgotten in heaven. So let me tell you what God is doing in the unseen, in the very silence that has made you feel forgotten. That quiet you are sitting in is not abandonment. It is not punishment. Heaven is not absent from your evenings. Heaven is closer to them than the air in your lungs. The same God who numbers the hairs on your head knows the exact weight of the loneliness you carry into the night. King David once marveled at this. He said the Lord knew his downsitting and his uprising, and understood his thought afar off. There is no ordinary moment of your day that escapes the loving attention of God. Not the way you sit alone at the table, not the sigh you let out when you think no one is listening. He understands the thought before it has even finished forming. And David said something else, something almost too tender to believe. He said God keeps our tears, that he puts them into his bottle and writes them in his book. Every tear you have cried into your pillow in a quiet house, every tear no one else ever saw, God did not let a single one fall to the floor unnoticed. He caught them, he kept them, they are written down. And a God who keeps a record that careful, that gentle, of your sorrow is not a God who has set you aside. Hear me, beloved, your story is not finished. The God who keeps your tears is not the God who forgets your name. The silence is not the end of the letter. It is the pause before he turns the page. Your season is not over. There is purpose still living in you, light still waiting in your window, and heaven is not done writing your story. So stay with me just a little longer, because I want to put words in your mouth tonight, words to say out loud into the quiet until your own heart believes them again. Say these with me. Speak them softly into the room, even if your voice shakes. Heaven is listening. and so is the part of you that has been waiting a long time to be reminded who you are. Say this: I am not forgotten. My name is graven on the hands of God. Say this: I am not invisible. The one who numbers the stars also numbers the hairs of my head. Say this: my tears have been seen. They are kept in heaven, and not one of them was wasted. Say this: my season is not over. There is still light to give, and God is not finished with me. And say this last one slowly: I am loved. I have always been loved. I was loved before the silence. I am loved within it, and I will be loved long after it is past. Do you feel that? That is not flattery. That is the truth Scripture has been telling you all along. For the writer of Hebrews promised that God is not unrighteous. He will not forget your work and the love you have shown toward His name in all the years you served others and thought no one noticed. He noticed. He always noticed. If these words have reached the place in you that needed them, comment the word "remembered" below. Let it be your quiet declaration tonight that heaven knows your name. And if there is a sister somewhere who feels as forgotten as you once did, send this letter to her tonight so she can hear it too. So receive this blessing now, as if a gentle hand were resting on your shoulder. May you rest tonight knowing that the silence around you is not the absence of love, but the nearness of a God who has never once looked away. May the quiet of your home become a sanctuary instead of a sorrow. May you remember that the light you have given all these years was never wasted, and that the faithful work of your hands is engraved where nothing can ever erase it. And may you sleep tonight like a woman who is deeply, permanently, and eternally remembered. If this letter found its way to you, then subscribe and join this little family, a gathering of women being reminded night after night of a worth they were always meant to know. We are lifting our heads together here, and there is room at this table for you. This was your letter from heaven. Until the next one, lift your head, beloved, and walk gently into the quiet, because the silence was never emptiness. It was God sitting close beside you, remembering every part of you that the world forgot.